So today we are meeting with Dolores Chimini from the Counseling and Psychological Services Office here at UAlbany. We're going to be hearing a little bit about the resources that are offered through that office, as well as, I believe, Dolores, you're going to cover some health services things as well.
Yes.
And just keeping in mind, the types of things that might be useful to some of our new incoming graduate students. So she does have a presentation, which I will share.
All right. Thank you so much.
Of course, and thank you for being here.
Sure. As Alyssa mentioned, my name is Dr. Dolores Chimini. I'm a licensed psychologist in New York State, and I'm the director of counseling and I'm the director of the Center for Behavioral Health Promotion and Applied Research, and also work within Counseling Psychological Services, and I'm the director of the Middle-earth Peer Assistance Program. Today I'm going to be talking with you about the services in our health and well-being cluster, and so that you know what's available for you, and so you can basically receive these services should you choose to do that. So I want to let you know, first of all, that I'm visually impaired, and so if you send things on chat, Alyssa will let me know, and I will answer any questions that you have, and I will have time for questions at the end of the presentation. So why don't we go to the next slide? Okay, so why get to know us? And why do we want to get to know you? So why do we want to get to know you? We want to get to know you so that we can provide you with the best services that we can offer at Counseling and Psychological Service Center for Behavioral Health, Promotion and Applied Research, as well as student health services. In our cluster, we also have campus recreation that you can avail yourself of, as well as the Advocacy Center for Sexual Violence Prevention. And so I will talk to you about those in a few minutes. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, why do you want to get to know us? We offer counseling services, health services for graduate students, and we also offer campus recreation services, and really are here to support your health and well-being. And one of the things that's particularly appealing to a number of graduate students is that we offer graduate assistant positions. We have graduate assistant positions in the Middle-earth Peer Assistance Program, Project SHAPE, Sexual Health and Peer Education. We have a health promotion graduate assistant position, an alcohol and other drug prevention graduate assistant position, as well as graduate assistant positions on a number of grants that we have in the alcohol and drug prevention space and in the mental health space. So remember us in the early spring around February, because each year we do have positions available. Next slide. Okay, so we have done and participated in some national surveys on what stresses college students, and this is similar for graduate and undergraduate students. And here you see it, the top 10 areas that cause stress for students at colleges and universities. And a number of them are physically related, like colds and flu and the like. But what they do have in common is that no matter what we're dealing with, they cause stress to us, and so it's really important to to be aware of these things and to know that there are places on campus where you can talk to someone to alleviate your stress. Next slide. So what are some signs that you might need some support and assistance? These are pretty self-explanatory. Feeling depressed, feeling anxious, difficulty adjusting to graduate school, concerns about eating, concerns about alcohol and substance use. At Counseling and Psychological Services, we have people who are very experienced and really have dealt with pretty much anything that college students can bring to us. So no reason for concern. We are very capable of addressing a variety of mental health and related issues. Next slide. All right. One of the things that we want to let you know up front is about confidentiality. Many students are under the mistaken assumption that all of the information that is in their counseling record or health record becomes part of their academic record. But in fact, counseling and health records are protected. So that means that we do not release information to anyone unless you sign a written release giving us authority to do so. There are several very rare exceptions to confidentiality, and they include if the individual is in an imminent danger of taking their own life or taking the life of someone else. And there may be some rare occasions where records are subpoenaed by courts, and usually it's just by judges that we have to release information. But again, all of those things are very rare. So confidentiality is something that we can provide to you. And remember that your records in health and counseling do not become part of the academic record. Next slide. We have a strategy to make appointments for counseling and psychological services, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. But one of the things before that I want to talk with you about is our respect for diversity. Certainly, we're facing a lot of challenges around social justice right now. There's a lot going on nationally that's very stressful, and a lot going on college campuses that's going to make this a very, very different year for us. Please know that the staffing at counseling and psychological services is very, very diverse in terms of race, ethnicity, sexual orientation and gender identity, disability, age, spirituality and religion, and a whole variety of different factors. And I'm certain that you will be very likely to find someone who can work with you who will be a good fit for you. And in the rare occasion where there might not be a good fit between the student and their clinician, you can always go back and ask to work with someone else. Next slide. Okay, so what I want to talk about now is scheduling an appointment. I want to let you know first and foremost that the services this semester at Counseling and Psychological Services will be virtual. So we will work with students over Zoom or by phone. And so when you contact us, you can elect to work with us either way. Most students are comfortable using Zoom. The Zoom platform does have encryption, so there is privacy there. And the nice thing about the virtual platform with counseling contacts is that you can talk with someone from where you are, and so you don't need to come into the office. Also, Student Health Services is working virtually, and so it's important to know that they will work with you, and we'll talk with you certainly by phone. You would contact Counseling and Psychological Services and Student Health for that matter in the same way as you would as if we were in person in the office. We have people available to answer the phone, and you can also contact us by email as well at consultation@albany.edu. We're open Monday through Friday. Our reception hours during the semester are 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., Monday through Friday. Next slide. Okay. The other things that, again, here's information on setting up an appointment. It's it's right here if you need to refer to it. Next slide. All right, so consultation. This is a service that we offer for members of the campus community, including students, faculty members, staff members, friends of students, parents and families, and members of the community. With consultation, individuals can call counseling and psychological services and talk with a psychologist to consult on a question they might have, a concern they might have. These are often briefer conversations, and also consultations may be done by email. So in order to access consultation services, you can contact Counseling and Psychological Services at their phone number, as well as at their email address.
All right, well, actually, Eliza's friend had to cancel, so if y'all want to come.
I'm sorry?
I think she may have just forgot to mute.
Awesome.
I can mute her.
Okay, thank you. All right, consultation services. Next slide. All right, so the Center for Behavioral Health Promotion and Applied Research. This is a new center at the University at Albany, and it works closely with both counseling and psychological services and student health services. And we have three aims at the Center for Behavioral Health Promotion and Applied Research. Number one is that we offer the highest quality of services to our students, including graduate and undergraduate students, using best practices in the field. And we're also leaders in best practices in the field. We offer training at the undergraduate and graduate and doctoral and postdoctoral levels. As I mentioned before, we have assistantships in the area of health and well-being in general. So if any of you are interested in an assistantship, please reach out to us. We'd be happy to talk with you about that. We have filled all our positions for this year, but typically positions for the following year come out in February. So that's something that's good to know. And then lastly, we do translational research. We are very, very active in translational research. We believe that in order to provide the best services to our students, we need to engage in finding out what the best interventions are and working and leading the nation on that. We've been fortunate to, over the last 20 years, earn over $9 million in grants. We actually collaborate a lot with the School of Education in our work. And we are, very, very interested and eager to have students from the School of Education work with us in our research endeavors if students are interested. So also remember that as well. Next slide. Here are some areas that we have programs and services in. Again, many times built by grants. Alcohol and other substance use, mental health types of things. We also work in the area of sexual assault prevention, physical health, and I mentioned mental health, a variety of different areas that we have expertise in. And if any students from the School of Education would like to have a program or workshop delivered by our center, please do reach out to us and we would be happy to do that. Next slide. Okay, peer education. We have two peer education programs that we run out of our cluster and specifically out of the Center for Behavioral Health Promotion and Applied Research. One is the Middle Earth Peer Assistance Program that's nationally recognized. It operates a hotline service, peer education service, a peer wellness coaching service, and the undergraduates in the program are trained through undergraduate credit-bearing courses. Now, how graduate students are involved in Middle Earth is that they serve as graduate assistants, and they have the opportunity to supervise our undergraduates, who in turn provide hotline and peer education services. We also have a second peer education program. Again, graduate students are involved in this program by being graduate assistants, and that is Project SHAPE, which stands for Sexual Health and Peer Education. This is a smaller peer education program that's focused on undergraduates teaching other students around sexual health topics. The graduate assistants who work in these positions are very, very engaged in the work that they do and enjoy the work very much. They find that it complements their academic experience, particularly in the School of Education. Next slide. All right, here we have some contact information for CAPS and the Center for Behavioral Health. I mentioned that I would also talk about student health services. I don't have slides for those, but certainly I can tell you what services are provided. Student health services provides services for registered students at the University at Albany. There is a women's health clinic as part of the services. There are some lab services available. There are physicians and nurses that do the work in student health. Student health is more of an organization where one comes in if they have a concern and want to be diagnosed. It's not to substitute for one's primary care. They refer to it as primary episodic care. There's also a pharmacy on site at Student Health Services, so prescriptions can be filled there. And in addition, we do have psychiatry services available, though the psychiatrists are actually based in counseling and psychological services. So there are a variety of services available. The services, counseling and health, are paid for by your student health and counseling fee, which is one of the mandatory fees that you pay as a graduate student. And with that, you can come in and get services at no extra charge. Now, there may be some fee for some lab services in student health, but services by and large at student health and counseling and psychological services are free of charge. So that's essentially my overview. On the next slide, I have included a link for you to look at your leisure. It's actually a video we created for undergraduate student orientation, but it does contain some helpful information on student health, counseling, and behavioral health services. So, a number of staff in those agencies are talking about their services. Campus Recreation is represented as well. At this point, I want to thank you for listening, and I want to see if anyone has any particular questions at this time. Thank you.
Oh, geez. So if anybody does have any questions, we can take them in the chat, but otherwise we can, oh, no questions, perfect. We'll be sending out the recording that we did on this session, and as well as some information on some of the other sessions that we've done throughout the summer. And our next session is actually tomorrow with the Office of Intercultural Engagement. But as long as there are no questions, I just want to say thank you to Dolores for your presentation and for all of the information. And again, where can students reach out to if they do have any questions or inquiries about anything that you presented on?
They can reach out to us at 518-442-5800. That's Counseling and Psychological Services, or at consultation@albany.edu. And Student Health Services has a website that students can go to, where the phone numbers for the service are available. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you very much. And thank you to everyone who joined us, and we hope to see you at our next session tomorrow.